Hello there, today's July 4th. No, not July 4th, July 2nd, 2020. Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. And I had uploaded a video. So I was gonna do a live stream, right? But I found out I can't do like mobile, like from my phone, like mobile live stream because have less than 1,000 subscribers. I have like 356 subscribers. That's how many subscribers I have. Yeah, 356 subscribers right now, as of July 2nd, 2020. So yeah, it turns out, I mean, I can still like live stream from my webcam through the computer, but not through the mobile phone or iPad, I think, because that's still mobile. Like iPad with the like cell phone carrier signal, with the LTE signal shit, or data signal. I guess I could do it on, I wonder if I can do it on Wi-Fi. Probably not, because it's still a mobile device, but um but yeah. Hey, I'm stuck here. I'm parked at this Walmart parking lot. I came here from the truck stop. I go to the truck stop to shower, but I came from the truck stop, and then I don't know, I should be using my badass or better quality sound with the microphone, but I'm not doing it. But I'm just sitting here at this Walmart parking lot over here, like in Zaragoza, and it's been a tough few days, especially because of the uptick of the from the coronavirus. Like they're starting to close stuff down again, like the restaurants and shit. I just walked into Burger King earlier and I saw the manager there. She was having some like deep conversation through the headset with somebody and shit. I was just like, "Hey, can I wash my hands?" And it's like she just kept talking to whoever she was talking to on the through the headpiece. And I just walked into the restaurant and washed my hands. So, and then when I came out, she's like, "Oh, sir, you're not we're not allowing like walk-ins and shit. Like you can only do drive-through." I was like, "Oh well, I asked you and you didn't say anything, so I just went into the restroom to wash my hands." I was like, "Yeah, are you serious?" She's like, "It must have been the other girl." I was like, "No, it was you. I was talking to you. Like, it was her and some other chick there." But yeah, that's what happened today. I have my mask on and everything, but I don't know, I'm supposed to be in quarantine right now, cause okay, first of all, yeah, I tried to upload a video of like the screen recording for my iPad, but it was just um like there was no sound there. There's some kind of glitch when you upload from the iPad with the screen recorder. I watch videos on YouTube. It's just you just have to like re-record it or some shit. But it just doesn't do it like the easy way. You have to like jump through a bunch of hoops to get it to upload with the sound. It doesn't upload with sound, so see, this is why I'm starting to like hate. I've always kind of like noticed this about Apple products and shit. They have a bunch of glitches. Like they have like too many security features or some shit. Like maybe they're not even security features. They're just like clumsy. But a bunch of it's like the there's no wide angle on the camera. It's a narrow ass video and shit. And then that thing, when you do a screen capture on the iPad, it doesn't upload the sound. It's all quiet. So that video, I couldn't do that video anymore. And I was trying to do some mobile. Yeah, did I say that already? Yeah, mobile live stream, but I have less than 1,000 subscribers, so you can't do mobile live stream. You can do it through the laptop or the computer on your Wi-Fi signal, but not through the like a mobile live stream. I was gonna do mobile live stream, but yeah, I've been sitting here. I'm in quarantine, and I was basically exposed. Like, I talked to somebody that tested positive for coronavirus. They're showing all the symptoms. I think he said he had a bad headache, like a terrible headache, and from like fever and shit, and a lot of coughing. And then I asked him if he had shortness of breath. He said like a little bit. So yeah, that happened like two the Sunday before last. Today's Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. So the Sunday before last, so that was like 11 days ago, roughly. Around 2 p.m. here El Paso time, I went in there to pull my trailer out because I was gonna go on the road. And that guy had just gotten there. He was just parked there and stuff. I talked to him for like 90 seconds just to like ask him if he could pull up, like move the trailer forward, like the truck and the trailer forward, so I could like exit the yard. And he did. We just exchanged a few words. And yeah, I did notice he looked kind of haggard or like real exhausted, like real tired or something. His face looked like that. He seemed like, I thought he had just been driving for a long time. I was like, maybe he's just been driving for a long time. So, and he seemed kind of like real sunburnt and shit, because you do get sunburnt that like you're exposed to the sun when you're driving, right? So but and I always had that in the back of my mind, right? The COVID-19 stuff. And there's been a real uptick now in like Texas and Florida and all these, it's just Arizona, and like the spread of the virus, and it's been happening. So I mean, that's what's been happening. So that's what's been happening. And yeah, just and I also wanted to talk about how I'm running out of family members. Like my uncle died a few months ago, like last year I think, and he was just eventually came down here to Texas, to El Paso, to settle down. Like, no, I think he was actually in New Mexico, pretty close to here, and got his own apartment and stuff. He was just living there, but yeah, he was kind of lonely, I guess. That's what it seemed like to me, anyway. But yeah, cause yeah, he was living with his girlfriend over there, but he eventually came down here, and yeah, he ended up dying. He had just an accident, like a physical accident or something. He ended up dying. He just died, and I mean, he had already made it through a lot of like close calls in the past, but I mean, this time, uh, he just died. But I mean, he was elderly. He was like in his mid 70s, I think, or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, but I'm basically running out of family members. And then recently, most recently, like a month ago, my cousin died of cancer. She just passed away. She had a bunch of complications and stuff. I tried to help her, gave her some money to go to the Hoxie clinic, but I guess either the treatment didn't work or it was too late to even take that treatment, because they do warn you that it's a slow treatment and the patient like has to be able to eat like I guess regularly, more or less, to be able to take the treatment. But yeah, so she has to be able to eat, and by the end of towards the end of her life, she wasn't able to eat or stomach anything, so that got in the way of the treatment. Yeah, but I think they went over there since November. That was a month ago when she died, but November of last year, she went down there to TJ to get the Hoxie treatment. And she leaves behind an 11-year-old son, and her husband and her mom. And yeah, just gotta do everything in my power to like give her son some guidance and stuff, some good advice, some good guidance, help him whenever I feel. Yeah, but every time I see him, I've been giving him some money. Like last time, I gave him $70, and then he's 11. Like a week before that, I gave him like $50. I bought him like a laptop computer like last year, I think. A gaming laptop computer I bought him, and I bought him some gear, some accessories too, headphones, a mouse. I even bought him a game, which they didn't let him play. So yeah, I mean, it is just pretty sad and stuff, because I don't know what might be coming you don't know what might be coming down the pipe, like towards me. But it is pretty sad that yeah, sometimes I don't know, it seems like sometimes you're too optimistic, or too like you're taking like life and the course of events that are like happening and stuff in your life and stuff, and it's like you just have an optimistic view and stuff, and but you should be aware that it could go like very wrong. It should just like, I don't know, you have like I think you have just like a feeling that like things are gonna work out and they're gonna like make themselves right or work themselves out. But if you see something going like going awry, or yeah, just turning out to be bad, if it's looking like it, you better take like some pretty drastic measures to make sure it doesn't happen. Like, yeah, when you're stuck without family members, nobody back you up. I mean, I have some family members, but my little circle is shrinking. Yeah, don't think it's yeah, I remember this teacher, she used to she told us, oh, don't think your life won't turn out all fucked up. Just, people just think that things are gonna work themselves out. She said, if you don't like the way your life is turning out, you better do something now, as early as possible, because it will turn out like fucked up if you see it you know, developing that way. Mm. So, yeah, that's what's happening. And we're here in my truck. And we're here in the truck. It's hard to put this thing anywhere, like the phone anywhere. It's hard to put it anywhere where it doesn't fall. I don't have a mount, and I knew the iPhone was gonna be giving me these problems, man. Androids, I think Androids are like have a worse like battery life, but they're a lot better in other ways. But yeah, so yeah, I'm running out of family members. I'm in quarantine because like 2 Sundays ago I was exposed to the coronavirus. Like on Sunday, and then like by Wednesday, the manager told me that he had tested positive. So, but I mean, I was like, it was just very, very, very briefly that I spoke to that guy. He was on top of the truck, and I was standing on the ground on the bottom, on the yeah, on the concrete or whatever, on the asphalt. But that's what happened. But yeah, they say like people breathing or coughing or sneezing or something that can shoot out like water droplets from your mouth or nose, and then it can get on your eyes, or you can like inhale them, and that's how you can get infected with coronavirus. So far it's been like 11 days, and I haven't felt any symptoms whatsoever. I was certain that I hadn't gotten like infected, but they still told me, out of an abundance of caution, they just told me to like self quarantine shit, and so I wouldn't have to pay a hotel, or I don't know, maybe a company should be paying for it, but so I wouldn't have to pay a hotel. I'm staying here on in the cab. I don't have a trailer right now. In the tractor, in the power, on the bobtail. I'm staying here. So it's pretty cool. I don't know, I keep it running when I'm asleep. Yeah, and as far as those oh yeah, my last video, the one you couldn't hear, it was about the Antifa protests and Black Lives Matter and all that shit. I mean, those people have like, I mean, there's a lot of people that have legitimate grievances, but I think the Black Lives Matter is like, well, at least, I mean, it's like controlled opposition. They kind of like, they seem kind of like they're doing the right thing, and then they stray from the what you would think the right path would be. So they kind of like backslide and shit. But I think that's just controlled opposition. I mean, they're better than the right wingers, right? They're way better, I guess, than, because the right wingers just want like, I don't know, they always back the blue, no matter what. Even they're beating the shit out of people for no reason. But yeah, I mean, it's always like that. When you have a legitimate movement, there will be some other phonies that'll claim to be like espousing the same thing, but then they'll just try to like lead people astray from like the real, like the right path to like so they won't like really succeed in like making change or affecting like real change for the better. You know, there's people that'll just like lead it lead it astray. The movement, those phonies, they'll sabotage it. So I don't know why that looks like a police car over there. Um, yeah, it sucks that Walmart, everything's like shutting down. Like they don't allow walk-ins. Like it's just doing drive-throughs right now. But yeah, so I talked to that guy that tested positive for coronavirus at the yard where I pick up the trailers and shit here in El Paso, and he ended up testing positive. When he got back the results, he found out like on Wednesday or something. That's what the manager told me. And yeah, that's what that's what she said. But so I'm like, yeah, I'm in quarantine right now. Even though I was like certain that I hadn't caught anything. Cause when I was talking to him, like when I would breathe, I think it's always in the back of my mind. I was thinking about it, but when I walked up to the truck, he cracked the door open a little bit, and I mean, it was just like the engine was running, so it was pretty loud. So he couldn't hear me. So I pulled down my mask. I was wearing a mask, but I pulled it down to like so he could hear me to like speak louder, because the mask was muffling my mouth, my voice, and so yeah, just it was just like 90 seconds or maybe less than that. I exchanged a few words with him. Um, yeah, but then afterwards, that's when he told me he was having all the symptoms of COVID, like a bad, like real, like a throbbing, or like horrible headache, and because of the fever, I think he had fever. He said he had fever and like, a lot of cough. He's like, man, I need to go to the doctor, man. That's what he told me. I now opened the gate for him. I don't know why he wouldn't open the gate for himself when his wife and some teenage kid came to pick him up in the back seat of the SUV. Um, so yeah, I don't know why. If he has I don't know, he's supposed to have a car. I don't know. He was driving one of those like uh he was having one of those um he was driving an international, but it's like I think it's like one of those like rented trucks that's not really from the company. They just rent them. They're for like I think they're for like casual drivers or something. But yeah, there's some trucks that are from the company, and then there's some other ones that are like just rented. I wonder what the guy's doing. It looks like he's got a freaking shotgun or something. Some guy's coming over here. Some guy, he just looks like he had a stick or something. Some guys come walking towards over here. Yeah, I don't know. You just gotta be like leery of everyone. But that's it. Some guy walking by. He was holding like a stick with a bag at the end or something like that. Yeah, but there was a car that came up right behind him and shit. Yeah. So just drifters. I wonder what they're doing at this late at night. It's just people homeless that stay on the street or something. Like me, basically. I'm staying on the street even though it's like in the cab. But yeah. Oh yeah, there he goes again. Oh yeah, he's got a like a broom or something and a dustpan. He's picking up trash. Anyway, he's just like picking up trash, man. Yeah, cause he came out through the other side. He just went around the cabin. He's going back the same way he came from. The same. He's going back to where he came from. So yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, I've been smoking. I'm trying to quit smoking. I've been smoking for like a relatively short period of time, but I need to quit smoking like soon, man. Yeah, and that's how I'm on quarantine. Yeah, how bad is COVID-19 really? How bad is it? Is it all that it's cracked up to be? Yeah, I already talked about. Yeah, that I'm not allowed because I have less than 1,000 subscribers. I have 356 subscribers right now. So I'm not allowed to like mobile live stream through the phone or I guess the iPad. Yeah, YouTube doesn't allow it. So yeah, and another thing I was gonna explain to you guys how it's not possible to like start your own business and grow it. Like you won't even be able to have a small business. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that have small businesses, right? But I mean, as time goes on, the amount of businesses in general is decreasing, and the people are getting like poorer and poorer because of basically, you know, there's like large corporations, right, that have existed for like over a century in this country. So basically, it's like one of those corporations that I mean, In order to start off, you have to start off small, right? It's not like you can't just like shell out $500 million and like start a big business, because you don't have a way of getting those $500 million, right? Or a billion. But it takes a lot of money, right? There's a barrier to entry. So basically, basically like, in order to for your business to become more efficient, and for you to like um, for you to have like to get cheap labor. Basically, when your business grows to a certain, and it's a long way until like your business grows to that size. But when your business grows to a large enough like size, your labor becomes cheaper, and it becomes, that's just one example. There's other examples that have the same trend. So basically, by applying division of labor, like let's talk about like the um like automotive industry, like the companies that make cars. A car has around 30,000 parts, more or less, right? Depending on the car, on the vehicle. Man, I keep biting my tongue. My tongue is like, it's like fucking sore right now, like swollen and like injured. Cause I cut my left side of my, like the right side of my tongue. But I bite both sides and shit, and then it starts hurting. Cause my teeth slice it. It peels off the skin, flesh. So basically, like, in order to be able to like, basically a large business can do the same amount of work that a small business can, but the large business can do it with unskilled labor, because they apply division of labor. Like all the tasks that it takes, for example, to build a car, right? A car has like around 30,000 parts. They divide it up into tiny little portion, like parts of the job, or portions of the job, like. So basically, a large business can employ like a lot of different people at a time. They have enough money to set it up, to get it rolling or operating, right? And have each one of those people, like, you don't have to teach. Like, if you have a small business, and let's say a small business try to build a car, right? And you have like 2 or 3 people, right, working. Like, you have to split all that work of those 30,000 parts among 3 people. So each one of those people has to learn a lot more than if the work was split up among like I don't know, 20,000 people or something. Yeah. So 3 people, like, they have to like they would have to do like a third of each one, a third of everything that it takes to build a car. But among 20,000 people, it's like 1/20,000th, right? If it's 30,000 people, then it's even less than that, right? So that way, a large business can just hire someone off the street and just teach them a tiny itty bitty fraction of like the work or the process what it takes to build a car. And that way they can for each worker they can just reduce the training that it would have been like, it would have taken like a long time, like years, to train somebody to build a car if it was just 3 people, because they'll have to build a car all by themselves. Like all those 3 people have to build a car by themselves. But if it's 20,000 people, then it's just a 20,000th of the process of building a car, right? So um, basically, if it's just a tiny itty bitty fraction of the process, and you've like divided it, division of labor, then each one of those workers, like, you just have to teach him like 1/20,000th of the process, what it takes to build a car. You know what I mean? And that's gonna be like just probably a few minutes or a few hours, maybe a few minutes, maybe like an hour of training, 2 hours of training, probably a little bit more, but it's nothing compared to the small business, which only has 3 workers, because they don't have enough money to hire that many people at once. So basically, the car made by a big business can make the same quality car. And there's other advantages when it comes to, like, if you have a lot of people cooperating, working together, there's more advantages that come out. I'm just giving you a small example of this. That should right off the bat, like, disprove that there's a like a reasonable, like, chance of like building a business, right? So basically, if you split up that whole process of building a car, like, you could just like train each one of those people on a small fraction of the process of building a car, and then they could just do it over and over and over and over and over again. You don't have to teach them to like build, like, basically like the whole car, right? Like these other 3 people that have to learn like a big chunk of the process, right, in the small business, right? So yeah, by hiring a lot of people, you split up all the operation uh into like tiny amounts. They do a little bit of what it takes to build a car. Each one of those people does just a little bit of the process, works a little bit out of the process, on and on and on. Like, they just do that little bit of that task that's been like that whole task of building a car. It's been split up into like very like a lot of like small pieces, into small portions. So each one of those people, all they have to do is, like, in the large business, all they have to do is repeat it like over and over and over again. Like, if they're all working in unison, or even if they're not working in unison, like, they can still build a car. And each one of them, like, your labor, each worker, you just have to like pay them, train them like very little to do that small amount of the work. And they can just keep doing it over and over and over, and like make a lot of parts, that small portion of the work of what it takes to build a car. Like, they can just do it over and over and over and over again. Like, that way you can build a lot of cars by just teaching each one of those people a small portion of the process of building a car. And that way your like training costs go down. And since you're getting like unskilled labor, that'll probably be like the difference between, like, I don't know, hiring somebody that knows as much as I don't know, that took Yeah, I mean, if you hire somebody that's doing the work that takes like 2 hours to learn, like they're part of the work, it only takes like an hour or two to learn in the big business, then it's a lot easier. If they quit, you can just hire somebody else and just train them for an hour, and then you can fill that spot back up again. Job post. Um, so yeah, that's how it is. I mean, and of course, like, I mean, those people are going to be willing to be hired by that company because that company has more productivity than if they were doing it just by themselves. Like, if they went out and tilled the land and tried to make a living for themselves, like, they can still benefit by working at that company. Like, whoever, well, by now it's getting like, by now it's like we're losing all of that, right? Where people used to like be able to benefit for working with working by working for a company. So I mean, yeah, basically, like, it'll be easier to you for you to, like, in the big, if you have a big company, it'll be easy for you to fill up those job spots, because I mean, you can just grab anybody off the street, train them for that little portion of the task that you need to train them, and if they quit, it'll be easier to replace them, a lot easier to replace them. You know what I mean? And of course, they're not all gonna quit at the same time, right? Unless it's a strike or something, but those don't really happen. It hasn't happened, like, not significantly anyway. So yeah, that's how. And on top of that, like, machinery increases productivity too. They're still gonna have a lot of like machinery and shit, right? It's gonna increase productivity. So yeah, that's how. So yeah, you see how it's like you're like locked out of the business, because the big businesses that already exist, like, they have it easier to hire people, and to, like, they can produce their commodities with like unskilled labor with anybody off the street. Whereas, like, if you have a small business, you have to like find some, or like, if you have a small business, you can only hire a few people, like a lot less than the big business. Then you're gonna have to split up the work of making whatever you're making, like a car. Split up the work into bigger chunks. So it'll be harder for you, a lot harder for you, to find somebody that is qualified enough to um, do all that work. Yeah, you should read. You should read Capital, Volume 1 at least. Read all 3 volumes of Capital by Karl Marx. It's just one of the many examples, right? Small business has to divide, since small business has less people working for it. You have to divide the whole task by bigger chunks. If they have 3 people, they have to divide, like, in 3, divided in 3 by 3. But a big business that has 20,000 people, they can divide the tasks by 20,000 portions of the work. So yeah, each one of those workers in the big business only has to train for like a small portion of the work, and they just get to do that over and over and over. It's very repetitive, over and over and over again. That's what division of labor is about. So basically, how, I mean, if you have a small business, or if you're trying to start from scratch, not if you're barely gonna start a small business, how can your business grow if the big business already has like those um, they have those advantages? They can just they don't have to train people because that much, like very little, because they have a lot of workers that they can split up the work up. They can split up the work into like a smaller and smaller like fractions. It's a fraction of the amount of the process. So yeah, basically you can't. Basically that, I mean, it's like, I mean, if you can find like the small business will be able to find like workers like every, get somebody that's qualified like every what, because they have like a bigger fraction of the work like that they need their workers to do, right? So they can, it takes a lot longer, a lot more time to find somebody that's qualified to do the work, and than what it takes the big business to, find. So man, I'm falling asleep. But so yeah, the big business has that advantage, and since the big business can replace their workers right away, because I mean, they can divide up the work that much into like tiny little sections. um yeah, so they can divide up the work into tiny little sections. And I mean, if somebody quits, you just spent like an hour training them. So if somebody quits, like, you're not losing any money at all. Yeah, and take it. Yeah, I mean, understand that those workers working at the big factory or the big business, like, instead of doing the whole process of building a car by themselves, like, instead of doing every section of the work until a car is completed, they just do the same. They might just like I don't know, put together like shit, I don't know, a steering wheel, or a part of a steering wheel. Like, they might just do, because there's so many other people working doing small sections of the work. Like, each person only has to do like a small section of the work, like portion of the work. But I mean, so instead of them doing the whole thing, the whole operation, they just do like tiny little bit pieces. That's all they worry about. They just do it over and over and over and over again. So you still get like the same amount of, or more work actually, because it also increases productivity. And they just do that small, narrowed down task over and over and over again. And you can still keep them working for as many hours as a small business would keep their workers. But the workers in the small business have to know a lot more to know in order to be able to finish the task. So basically, yeah, if there's, and of course, like, there's more there's more unskilled. There's more unskilled people that don't have skills, right? Than there are people that have skills. So basically, like, yeah, when you go out looking for workers and shit, um, yeah, I was just thinking that guy probably came over here to spy on me or some shit. That's why he went around the cab picking up trash with a dustpan. So, yeah, I mean, if you need a worker, like, yeah, if you need yeah, if you need workers to just like put together like like a, I don't know, a steering wheel or something and shit. Yeah, if you need a worker to put like steering wheel together, which is a small fraction of the work. Even though I think they, I mean, they use machines now, and then they have like a machine minder, like just somebody that watches a machine or something, supervises it, that's doing it for you. And where that machine, where that machine draws power is like a lot more efficient than if it was a human like putting the steering wheel together. But yeah, I mean, if you're just like, if at the big company all you have to do is like screw a plate with like 3 screws or something, then that's it, just a plate with like put 3 screws on it, like screw it to something, some part of the car, like, I don't know, a plate or whatever. Take the stereo and like you put all the buttons on or something, or put the case, you have the stereo, you like all the components of the stereo, and you put the case together, you cover it up with the case on the stereo. That should be like, has like, I don't know, 4 or 5 screws or something. That would be a lot easier at the big company because the work is split up into very like small segments or sections. But at the small company, since it's like split up into bigger chunks, then a person is not, it's not going to be enough if you just like, if you just encase the stereo with the case, like put this case around it, screw the screws on, that's not going to be enough. You're going to have to do more work. You're probably going to have to put together like a third of the car. And I'm just giving you an example. I mean, there's a lot of different tasks that take like different steps, right? So if it's a task that takes 30,000 steps, and you divide it by like 30,000 people working on it, so it's just each person has to do one step at a time, right? And then just do it over and over and over again, and then that way, I mean, you can still get, just as many, like, it's actually faster or easier to get more cars. More cars constructed that way. I don't know, am I making sense? I'm falling asleep right now. Yeah, so all the steps, yeah, if something takes 30,000 steps to build, if something takes 30,000 steps to build and you hire 30,000 workers, then each worker only has to do like one step at a time, right? And then if you're going to build like 10,000 cars, right? Then each one of those 30,000 workers only has to do that 30,000, that's like one step. You have to do it 10,000 times, right, to make 10,000 cars. Yeah, but if you have a small business, you can't do that. Yeah, do you understand? And I mean, of course, since with a small business, you know, the portion of the work that each worker does is so much smaller. Like, you can just like, it's very easy to replace people, because you only have to train them like you have to give them a very small amount of training for them to be able to do that job. All right. Yeah, are we? So basically, the point I'm trying to get at right here is that private enterprise doesn't exist. That is an illusion. All right. Bye. Yeah, especially for, I mean, there's a lot of people that think they're entrepreneurs and shit, but they you know, they'll never be fucking entrepreneurs and shit. Yeah. And they usually tell you, oh, but I'm ambitious. I'm going to get somewhere. I'm going to go places. And that shit is not true, because, I mean, you have to think more, get more in depth into this. But it's all set up like that. Like, they have a bunch of, like, they have other advantages, right? Because by now, those car factories and shit, they have computerized shit like that, right? And like the you know, the by now, yeah, they have computerized shit like that, and machinery that like that uses, you know, all that. Basically, the way it's because of how, like, the quantity, where they get it from, and how they make the electricity that those machines use. But basically, one of those machines that screws on, like, that turns a screw, like, screws, puts a screw on something, one of those parts. Like, those machines use like they use a lot less. Basically, they use a lot less they're basically doing it with a lot less energy than what a human would need to use. You know, the amount of energy a human would need to use to, like, put on that screw. They use it with like a small, like a hundredth, or even more than that, a hundredth of the energy that it would take a human to, like, put on that screw. You know what I mean? It's like the effort that they rather use that human effort over there to, like, at the nuclear power plant to, you know, make the nuclear fuel and all that stuff to generate electricity, because that way just it just takes less. I know it might be kind of confusing now, but basically for one of those machines to turn a screw, it takes a lot less energy for it to, like, it takes a lot less energy for it to do it than if like there were humans doing it by hand. It's like when it comes to like engines, like if you have an engine of like, I don't know, if you should just have like a six basically, like, the bigger the engine, like the less fuel it consumes to do the same amount of work as a smaller engine. But at the same time, you have to do more of it to be able to trap the heat in there, in the combustion chamber. Yeah, it goes pretty deep. This stuff is pretty interesting. I've been reading Karl Marx on my Kindle, which is I don't know, I shouldn't be supporting Amazon, but I have Karl Marx on paperback too. Alright, bye. But yeah, so basically you can't start your own business. You can't, if you don't already have it, like, you're gonna get stuck and like locked out of where the easy life, like, you won't have an easy life. You'll be toiling away like a dog. Alright, bye. Yeah, private enterprise doesn't exist. Bye.